like to begin tonight's meeting. I appreciate everyone being here. It's always a very festive occasion with our presentation later on for professional status. Today, following the meeting for October 21st at Skyview Middle School, we can stand and say Pledge Allegiance to the flag of the flag. The United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I would be glad to donate another flag in this room. It cost us,
Doug, write that down.
Doug, it cost us about 20-something million to build a building. I will gladly donate another flag. 2003.
Of all Leominster Public School students and places their interests above all others. We will exercise leadership, adhere to our protocols, and base our decision upon a reasoned assessment of all available information. We will advocate for each of our schools and support high-quality public education in Leominster. At this time, we'll open up our public forum. If anybody would like to address the school committee, please come up, and maybe Ron or something, they could use your microphone. Would anybody like to address the committee? One final last time, if anybody would like to address the committee, please come forward. Since no one's coming forward, we're going to close that portion of our meeting at this time. We're going to move on to communications superintendent.
There are no communications this evening.
And we'll move on to the superintendent's report.
So this evening is coming at a perfect time. We're coming off of a real high from last week and the weekend. Leominster Public Schools was featured on the A+ Channel 5 News, two twin brothers, who received recognition and put Leominster High School in a spotlight, in a positive spotlight. We moved towards the end of our week with celebrations at the elementary, middle, and the high school level. Our elementaries at Francis Strait hosted a parent dance, filled to capacity, fun. I saw that the dinosaurs showed up as well, so it was a lot of fun. Also, the high school brought back an old tradition of a homecoming dance. For years, it had gone away. Just low participation, not a lot of interest, but students came forward and said, I think we'd like to do this. So they were given permission. They printed 200 tickets. We were hoping to get 200 students, so those sold out day one. So we printed another 100. And on Friday night, 550 high school students came incident-free and hung out at the high school. They danced, played cornhole. It was just an old night of fun for teenagers. And then we greeted Saturday down at Doyle Field with our sporting events. And thank you to our AD, our high school, everyone that committed to a full day of sports. The weather couldn't have been any better. We started at 10 a.m. We had football in the morning, field hockey, girls soccer, boys soccer. We ended with a homecoming game. In between, there was a Halloween parade downtown. So Leominster was alive and well. And so I think tonight's event is just a really nice culminating celebration in which to just carry this on and what's happening in our district. So I'd love to get to presenting our teachers with their apples.
Absolutely. We'll move right on to that. If I can have all the school committee members line up in front of the tables.
I'll make a motion that we recess so that we can...
We usually don't recess until after, because this is still part of the meeting. It's the reception. But we'll let you make that motion. We're going to do it just so we're not in your way, and then they can see you.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you for coming. I'm Jim Riley, Assistant Superintendent, Director of Human Resources. And first off, I just want to thank Ms. Ann Pickering for her hard work in organizing this celebration. more often than not, pretty good. More often than not, Ann is the person who's working tirelessly behind the scenes to make sure everything goes the way it should. I don't know if anybody caught it. She was shining apples about 6:45. Absolutely true story. I also want to thank our hosts at Skyview for providing a spread, and then also putting out the display, and then also CTEI, who was involved in actually assembling the apples so we can give them to our professional status teachers. At this time, I want to invite LEA President Leah Burns up just to say a few words.
Congratulations. Just very quickly, we want to say congrats on behalf of the LEA, and we're very lucky to have this group of educators. And I lost my train of thought there. And this is a really good occasion. This is an amazing occasion for you guys, and it's a great stepping stone in your career. And we thank you for choosing Leominster to have this career with us.
On behalf of the entire district, we'd like to offer our sincere congratulations to the teachers who are being honored tonight. Teachers matter. Okay? Good ones make a difference, and great ones can change the trajectory of a child's life. You're all here because you've worked tirelessly the last 3 years, in some cases longer than that, to make a difference. You have earned this achievement because you've demonstrated the passion, the skill, the effort, and the commitment of what it takes to be successful as an educator in Leominster. And so congratulations on earning your professional status. School committee up here, we're going to introduce folks by their level. So I was wondering if we could have the administrators from Northwest and Francis Drake join us up on the stage as well right now. From the Northwest School, 4th grade teacher, Haley Crawford. From Francis Drake School, 3rd grade teacher, Candace Johansson. Also from Francis Drake, 2nd and 3rd mathematics special education teacher, Elizabeth Souza. At this time, I was wondering if we could please have the middle school administrators join us up here. From Samoset Middle School, Library Media Specialist, Caitlin Foley. From Skyview Middle School, 8th grade math teacher, Erin Juski. Also from Skyview, ESL teacher, Sarah Gold. Also from Skyview, 7th grade science teacher, Kim Kelly.
It's a math teacher, by the way, Jim. I think you might have said science. It is a math teacher for Kim Kelly. Well, you can teach science too. We're thinking of combining. Just in one big combined. Kim Kelly, science is math.
Kim Kelly, math. Sorry. High school administrators, please join us on stage. From CTEI, pre-vocational special education teacher, Kevin Hadback. From Leominster High School, special education English teacher, Kim Hansen. From the entire campus of Leominster High School, school nurse, Bonnie Keckler. From Leominster High School, math teacher, John, also known as Frank Mooney. Finally, from Leominster High School, guidance counselor, Ann Olila. I feel like I have to tell Kim Kelly once again, thank you for teaching math. Otherwise, that concludes our celebration. Thank you.
Let's make a motion to adjourn so that we can have some refreshments.
So if folks could please come up and have some refreshments and socialize. If we could ask folks in the audience to please have a seat. You're welcome to stay and join us. Wow. Yeah, back here to clear the room.
In fact, if you don't leave now,
You're stuck here. So we'd like to continue, and right now we're going to go forward with the Skyview presentation.
Oh, fantastic. That'll be wonderful. What's that? I don't get a round of applause, sorry? Not like the presentation. Thank you. Mr. Trainer, if you would serve. I think we're doing the same thing that we did with the gym. Use this excellent little microphone. Thank you, sir. All right, well, welcome everybody. I'm Doug Niebel. I'm the principal of the Skyview Middle School. Helping me out, of course, is Mr. Trainer, Mark Trainer, our assistant principal, and closing the door for us is our other assistant principal, Bevan Tapley. So we're happy to have the whole team on board for this presentation, and thank you for giving us the time here at the school committee meeting. We are giving you just a quick review of kind of the first couple months of Skyview and what we're all about up here at Skyview, and really our focus for the year. So, Mr. Trainer, if you would be so kind. Going along with the district theme of every child, every classroom, every day, we are looking to really focus on the individual child as well as the group of children that we have in front of us. And we are striving through our staff meetings and our staff development to really focus on that message and really push for those teachers to look at the students as individuals as well as the group. And that's what we're trying to do on it every single day that we're here. Go ahead, Mark. It's all right. Sometimes you have to go backwards to go forwards. We also work under the auspices of the guiding principle, no significant learning occurs without a significant relationship. And again, that goes right along with our district goals this year. It's going right along with the Skyview goals that we've been pushing for the last couple of years at least. And again, we're looking for those individual connections that we can make with students. We had a lot of great results with an initiative we put out last year where we asked our staff to find one student each that they could make a connection with, and that would be a student that they had not had a connection with before. They were looking for students who didn't seem to have a lot of connections with anybody in the building, and we saw a lot of great growth from not just the students that these teachers connected with, but also the teachers who were doing the connecting. And I think some of our results and our data points really show that some of that work paid dividends in a lot of our results, not just on academics, but on attendance as well, which was a fantastically improved data point this year. Go ahead, Mark. So this year, we're continuing along with our social emotional goals. We are asking our staff to now this year bump it up, find 2 students. Now that we're coming to the end of term 1, we're going to take a look at those students who have not, for whatever reason, seemed to have made a connection with any solid adults in the building. We are going to look at those students who have not been succeeding so far, grade-wise. We are going to be looking for students who just don't seem to be getting into the school year so far. It's been a few weeks. The teachers have been striving to get everybody feeling welcome. We're going to look for 2 students this year at this point of the year where we can make new connections and hope to have that strive and thrive for the rest of the year to watch our data points rise as well. We are focusing on every aspect of social emotional learning in the building wherever we can. So some of the ideas that we've had this year, we're coming up with social emotional learning Fridays where we take our workshop blocks and we're going to be looking for and adding to some of the curriculum we're already using for social emotional learning. We are, of course, continuing with our Student of the Month celebrations, which we do 3 times a year, and we invite parents in for those. School committee members are, of course, always welcome to join us on those events as well. We continue with our Skyview Blue Fridays, where we're trying to instill some school pride. Many of you may have checked out our website, maybe on our email list. You may have seen some of our gear sales going on for the last 2 weeks. Hopefully you've purchased yourself some items. And all those funds go towards our basketball teams and our Special Olympics teams, which are pictured up there on the right too, from last year's event. We do our Spirit Weeks. We also are happy and thrilled to announce that our 21st Century program is back and ready to be started up again. Trish Woodliff is now centered here at Skyview, and she'll be running the program for us directly, which is a fantastic boon for us. And applications have already been getting handed out and turned in already in the first day of the week. So we're very excited to have that starting back up again and getting going here at Skyview. Go ahead, Mark. We're also focusing on equity this year. We've already made some changes. Mark, Bevan, and I took a long look at our scheduling. Previously, with Skyview with such a large population, we have 3 teacher teams on each grade level, 6, 7, and 8. Previously to this year, prior to this year, we have had focused groups. So, for example, our LEAP program might be on 1 team only. We would have our special education kids focused on 1 or 2 teams only, and our English as a second language students the same way, focused literally 1 level on 1 team, 2 other levels on another team. This year we took a long, hard look at how we were doing with those subgroups. We decided we needed to make some changes. We have spread out now, so we don't just have one team that handles a certain population. All teams are handling the populations. All teachers are being pushed to get out of their comfort zone and really take responsibility for some student groups that they have not been responsible for prior to this year. I think they are stepping up to the challenge so far. It's been a struggle for some folks, and it's been a struggle for our schedule to make sure that we have the proper supports in place. But I think everybody is focused on the end run, which is equity for all. And we're really looking to see the data points on our subgroups rise this year as a part of these changes. Our support staff are recording specifics about our discipline and our discipline records in the past years, but more importantly, what we've got going on so far this year. And we're taking a hard look at some of those equity pieces too. Who are we actually suspending more often than others? What groups are we seeming to focus on? And some of that has been some hard reflections on a few folks, which is, take a look in the mirror. Are you really treating people equitably? Or do you have certain students that you tend to call out on more? Do you have a few students that you tend to give harsher disciplinary practices with? We're looking at that ourselves, and again, those are some hard conversations to have, but I think it's an important conversation to have with everybody in the building, and I think it's helping our teachers kind of look at not just the individuals, but the subgroups, and then how we are treating everybody throughout our day in all our classes. And as we said, teachers and support staff are constantly reflecting on teaching every child in every classroom every day, and that's the message we keep pushing with them. A few of the highlights that we've seen already this year. 900 students, it's tough to see in that picture, but 900 students actually fit in our gym. You can't do much besides talk to them at that point, but that was for our Kylie's Care Kids Walk this year, Walk for Hunger. So all 900 students in the school walk down the hill, walk back up. That was one of our Kylie Care Kids representatives talking to the group, thanking them for the supplies that they brought as donations, including cash, and of course just the time and effort and caring that it takes to show that we do take this stuff seriously when we have people hurting in our own community. We continue with our Spirit Weeks and Spirit Days. Quick example of Diversity Day on the right, and then great shot of one of our students who is ill and unable to attend school. So we have a robot that attends school for him. He controls the robot from home. So when we had our sports day, he got dressed up in his Celtics jersey, which you can't really see. He's got the hoodie on, he's got the hood on, which we allowed him to do, of course, even though hoods don't usually stay on the school day. But Joachim got a good shot of him and his buddies over there trying to take care of him. They help him guide the robot through the halls, help him guide the robot to the classes, and he is able to interact, ask questions. He can hear the teachers and the students, they can hear him, and he's on his video screen at home, keeping his education alive. Go ahead, Mark. And then our ABA group has a great program going on this year where they are doing a coffee cart on Fridays. So the students in our ABA program, most of them on the autism spectrum, there are a few other specific learning disabilities that they do have as well, but they are coming around the building. They visit all the staff in different groups. They take orders for tea or coffee. They just started in the last 2 weeks making their own muffins in our kitchen, so they are selling homemade muffins as well. And the kids are learning about running a business, about treating customers right, about making change and working math with their bank account, but they're also getting a lot more exposure out in the building. They are in areas of the building they've never been exposed to before. They're meeting staff members and students that they've never had a chance to meet before. So that's been great. The girl on the right there in that last picture is actually a returning student from Skyview. She was graduated last year, 8th grade. She's at the high school now, so that's Gracie Albert. She came down and tries to come down whenever she can to visit her friends down in the ABA group. Looking ahead. Now this was a slide from 2 years ago, so for those of you on the school committee members who were here 2 years ago on this committee, this was a slide that we had put up saying that the next time we see you, this was actually from October 2017, and we said the next time we meet you all, we're going to be asking for some positions to come back. Well, just as a way of saying thank you to the school committee, we have our dean back from 2 years ago. We have our art teacher back. We have our health teacher back. While we have made some changes with reading, we have reading program back in place in our workshop blocks. We have taken one of our reading teachers and had her work now as a special education teacher, which means our sufficient special education staff has grown. We still have a few more spots we'd love to get in the next coming year, but we are closer than ever to having the full support staff that we're looking for. And of course, we finally got our third guidance staff, which has already been paying huge dividends with our students here at Skyview this year. So, we thank you for all you do for us and our students, and don't stay too late. That's it. Thank you. Any questions from the committee? I'm happy to answer. That is not me, but actually we were hoping to get you here one day to get that thing on.
What's your October number submitted to the state for enrollment?
In terms of enrollment, I think we're probably reporting in at about 896. We kind of fluctuate in that 895 to 800 or 910 throughout the first few months.
So pretty consistent.
Pretty consistent in that 896 range. So I'd probably say if we took an average of the first 10 weeks here, we'd probably sit right at that 896 number.
Thank you.
Does anybody else have any questions or anything? It was a wonderful presentation.
All right.
Lots of good things are happening here. It's
Lots of
very
good things are happening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Of course, we're happy to do it. We're happy all you want is cookies on the block. So thank you. Feel free to take some home on your way out too. We'll leave them there for you.
All right, so at this point, we're going to move on to superintendent's goals.
Great. I'm hoping that you were able to at least peruse the goals that I set forth for this evening. If we can take a vote later on, that would be great. We have a new evaluation tool at the state level, and we have mirrored the way that tool looks with the goals that I'm presenting this evening. One of the pieces that I heard and reflected upon when we went through my evaluation last year was, and I believe, Ms. Mayor, was you that said, we want something that everyone can buy into, help us with. We've set forth some very strategic, tight, SMART goals, things that are measurable, that are actionable. We can respond to these things. The first 3 goals, it's the newer portion to the setup, and it looks just like this on the new tool. My professional practice, which we ask all staff to do as well, is to complete the new superintendent's program in year 2. I go to, this year it's limited a little bit, 6 content days. They're all day. I have 6 hours a month of coaching. I can choose to have it in district, out of district, and I can have more if I would want to. I have the responsibility of completing all assignments, tasks, research, and reading. So it's pretty involved, but it is, I have to say, it has cultivated and helped streamline many of the positions that are taken and put forth. Our learning goal, such as our staff chooses as well, this year this is very tight. Our data has driven this, and we have drilled down and drilled down and drilled down. We could have 20. But this is something that I know the whole district, even citywide, we can have some competitions to help us. As measured by the 2019 ELA MCAS, 22% of students in grades 3 through 8 achieved at least 50% of available points in the area development portion of the writing prompt. The goal for 2020 is to increase that percentage to 32%. That's a 10% increase, which is lofty. I'd like to make it 100%, but 10%, it's the right thing to do. And so we have put work forth already with common formatives, data is out there, conversations, professional development, the writing skill, having students hold a thought, build that thought out, and stay streamlined. We seem to do a little bit better with conventions. Students know where periods and commas and indentations, but holding an idea cohesively together and articulating that in writing is something everybody needs. Every subject area needs to be able to do this. So teachers at every level, tutors, paras, our district staff will be working towards this. And then the new system has asked that I directly put a district improvement goal in. One of our larger gaps is around our L population, which is it's a moving target quite often. And as we kept looking at our numbers, and even though there is a transition, our students at the level 4 and 5 and first year fellows, those are former EL students, should be performing better on MCAS. So we're looking in both ELA and mathematics to increase that specific. It's a very tight cohort. Students who are engaging in content first, and we are supporting their language with that. But content now can be a priority. Levels 4, 5, and FELS, we are going to increase meets and exceeds targets by at least 5% moving forward. And the way that we will signify, or you will be able to evaluate it, is on this continuum, just as we've laid it out for you. Last year, I gave you performance goals, performance of the superintendent. These are things that we're going to do regardless. You want to evaluate me on instructional leadership and management and the family and professional culture. I've laid out each one of those goals with action steps and the evidence that I'm bringing forth by the end of this school year in hopes of meeting every one of them or exceeding every one of them. So the team is on board. As soon as I can get a vote to put goals forward, I will push this out to staff because they are in goal-setting motion right now. So if we can get everyone on board, that's how we're going to move the academic meeting. But I'm open for suggestions. It's a draft, but we've done a lot of work based in data. So I will be asking for a vote later on.
Anybody have any questions or comments for the superintendent? Ron?
Go ahead, Ron.
I'm sorry. Ron, go ahead.
All right, where Paul, we were saying district improvement goals, like you result 5% more. What does 5% mean? How many kids?
As a number, I think we had about 100 students, 150 students in that level, so it could be anywhere from 7 to 15. Our real goal is 100%. But if we want to have a SMART goal that's measurable and attainable, you keep it pretty tight.
All right, thanks.
Yep. No, I appreciate that.
Down this side, Mike?
Yeah, I have some comments. I'm concerned about how we're doing professional development and our culture of professional development. So in particular, I look at the district improvement goals, and I see a lot of providing and analyzing the data. And that can be done two ways. And I'm hearing from some teachers that they feel like we've spent a lot of time being told what the data is, and in particular focused on the parts where we failed. And they feel like they're getting sort of, you're not succeeding. Instead of, we looked at the data, and here are ways to help you, or these are the areas, these are the students we're concerned about, what can we do to help you succeed with those students? So I think there's a need to adjust how we're doing this. I think that the teachers at the high school have had 2 or 3 sort of professional development days, and they're all about looking at the data, and they sort of come out depressed rather than here's how we're going to get help to move forward. I also, I've heard several different administrators over the last couple of years say things like, well, it was so-and-so's responsibility to do professional development. And I think in a true professional development culture, anybody who has people who report to them is partly responsible for those people's professional development. So I would expect part of my evaluation of you is how well you ensure that the people who are reporting to you develop, and that they should in turn be evaluating people under them for how well so it passes down. So it's not you get to the end of the year, oh look, you didn't do these 6 things. It's should be spending all year making sure those things get done, because we want to make sure all our staff are moving forward. So that's just
So the evaluation tool is really, it's the tool that we have to use it in a cohesive, calibrated way. So that is part of the professional development that we're giving administrators. So what I see and what you see, if we're looking at the same lesson, where's our focus and what's the feedback that we're providing? Right now, administrators already have a calendar. Evaluations are starting now Teachers are setting goals, but our goals have got to be cohesive. So we want to make sure that we're addressing the needs. We're not going to sugarcoat the areas that need improvement.
Right.
So our district did very well. You know, we're proud, but there's areas for growth. And sometimes people don't like the information, but we're putting it out there. The data speaks to it. And we're going very deep this year. We're not just saying this subgroup. What about that subgroup? Is it the boys? Is it the girls? Is it this age? Is it that age? Is it at a certain level? Is it a practice of pedagogy? What is it at that specific level is making this not move? We have a few subgroups that are not moving at the rate that they have to, or the targets that were set forth. So we're having some tough conversations, but they're honest and they're set in something.
So,
but I understand.
let me just, so to feed off of that so that people don't misunderstand it. So one was Julie Dunn provided, here's the data.
Yeah.
And then maybe it's, you know, the next piece is, well, here's how we're going to support you to get you the tools and the training that you need. So maybe part of that next teacher development day might be the answer to, here's the data, now that we gave it to you raw, here's what we're going to do about it.
Yes.
I'm sure you're already doing that.
It's a systematic
I'm sure that's
approach.
already happening.
Correct. And so even tomorrow we have a principals meeting, so we walk our administrators through first, and then how it gets delivered out from there. And we can support the buildings. Yeah, we can support the buildings, but we run thin. But we keep moving, and staff has been talking to one another and really trying to build support systems. But we do recognize, and one of the things we've said to staff is professional development has to be worthy. We don't want to waste anybody's time, but we have a lot of work ahead of us, so everybody needs to jump on board. So we keep refining it, but we have a pretty well laid out plan for this year. So thank you for the feedback.
Anybody else? I'll just comment on Mike's comment. Mike, I think under the other standard 4, professional culture, that will address professional development. And that would be up to us to evaluate that at the time for evaluation.
Right, so I agree. So I just wanted to lay out sort of part of my thinking of what that means. So I'm going to have to be evaluated.
You may understand it today one way, and then at the end of the year, it's like, how is that pretend? I just have one thing. I don't know if it's necessary anything that we have to talk about tonight, but maybe it's something down the road that when we talk about the school committee's goals and we sit down with the superintendent, because really they should be pretty much one and the same. But one of the things I think is important is there's that sort of growing trend in the funding towards vocational education. Mm-hmm. Clearly, this country realizes that not every student is going to go to school. Everybody's going to continue with higher education in some format. But not everyone's going to go to college, and not everybody needs to. So as all the dynamics change, so is the funding, and so is sort of everything about it. So what are we doing in the system? What are we doing as a system to prepare for those students? Because it's nice to get to graduation and say, hey, 50 of our kids are going to go to the major schools. That's great. But there are a lot of other success stories of other students that go off and do wonderful things. And my best story is a student that went to BU, and she has a couple $100,000 worth of student loans, and her boyfriend, soon-to-be husband, is going to buy the condo in almost cash because he went to CTEI and took HVAC. And he squirreled away his money the whole time she was going to school, and she's got debt, and he's going to buy a condo in Leominster. So that's the kind of story, and so I think as a system, we've got to prepare for that. And I see guidance counselors. We've got a fresh group of guidance counselors. I'm sure understand that. But the whole country is sort of moving in that direction, whether it's voc ed or just training. And then I think the other part is, I've advocated this for a number of years, and I understand it might not be possible, or maybe to some subgroup, but just getting teachers and staff out to the workplace so they can see what goes on inside and see what and hear the owners talk about the needs that they need, that they have for our students. So I think that's more of a system-wide goal, one of those goals that we work together on. But clearly, money's in funding will come, and we'll have to continue to expand the operation at CTEI because there's such a demand for it, in this area, but every area. I remember Minuteman, the vocational school, didn't know what to do because they didn't have students going there anymore. And so they had to change some things around, and now you can't get in. And that's, because people are coming out with, and people are very successful and they need to go to college. So we have to be set up for both. You know, almost 3 people that aren't going to go to college but continue their education, voc tech, and regular, you know, high school students that are planning on going to. So that's something to think about.
Right.
Not that we have to sort of put it right in tonight, but
Yeah, very good point.
but every meeting I'm at now, it's all, whether it's funding or just concept, that's all the meetings. I spent an hour and a half today just the same thing. Last week, a tour of the businesses in town, mass hires, gearing their way that way. So it's the direction.
Great, thank you, Dean.
Thank
Sue
you.
needs,
Yeah, I'm sorry I'm late, but, so when I went through these goals, the one thing that I personally thought was missing was the measurement of the goals. Us as a school, how are we going to measure these? I see what you put outcomes, but to me, they're not quantitative, I guess.
Did you get the first page?
Yeah.
There's a page that those are
Yeah,
measurable.
no, I read it. I just, you know, I'm trying to think of how we're going to evaluate you. And, you know, I guess
well, some of the things
with the goal, I'm always looking for a quantitative type of goal. And I guess I
The
did.
next one, Sue?
the next
The next
page.
page?
Yeah.
Yes, so
Yeah,
those are
no,
all
I-
quantitative.
Right. And that
Those
talks
have
about
percentages.
22%.
Those are SMART goals.
I'm going to pause for a second, just get that screen up, and then when I disturb it.
Sure, no.
Thank you.
I mean, I read them and I don't know.
I think the evidence, I know you're talking BC.
Yeah.
I think the evidence is going to speak for itself, and that's how you're going to evaluate and assess her.
Clearly, it's going to be difficult to measure some of these, there's no
Yeah.
question. But then there are things in here that say, professional practice goals, attend 6 content classes. So that's easy to measure, right?
Right.
I think where the confusion comes in, and even when you get monitor classroom teacher action plans, steps based on district writing, prompt results, you can say, you know, I got an assessment from the assistant superintendent on his information that he gathered from the principals. I don't know how you measure that, but there are a lot of things that you can, and then other things that are.
Right, but
I
some of the
think
things
that's-
like encourage every family to become an active participant in the
Right.
school community. So we get some of that information from her Sunday, you know, reflections, and she's always, you know, reaching out and trying to partner with the parents and have them become involved in their students' education. So I think some of that is going to be evidenced by some of, you know, the efforts that she's done to, you know, accomplish these things. Nobody's going to, you know, be at every function to count how many parents are there compared to last year, but, you know, it's that outreach and that welcoming piece. So, I mean, so that's how I would look at some of that.
So,
Right.
I think that some of the answer to that is some of them are very easy to measure, others are
A
sort
little
of,
more subjective.
and then there are others that get more difficult, but that's,
But we'll be
It's
looking
good.
forward to her evidence
Right.
supporting those efforts.
and I think
I
overall,
think it's up to us paying attention to what's happening and reading the information that's given to us and
so,
listening to our constituents.
just so I understand this, each one is a goal,
Each one is.
and then there are all these sub-pieces of
Yes.
the goal, and I think overall, I don't know, I think we should agree on this now so we don't get on the other side of this and then get confused, it's the whole goal. So when we get to professional practice, we'll be evaluating the superintendent on that section and then student learning.
Yes.
And those are
Yeah.
subsections of the goals.
Correct.
So I think you get a flavor from each of the sub-goals, you know, each of the bullets, and that's what I think you collect all of that, and that's what you sort of give the, did you meet, some progress, significant progress, met or exceeded. I think that's what's different about other times, too, when we did very specific, you know, goals and measurement tools that were in there. This is more, you know, overall, did you meet the goal, right? At the end of the day. Yeah, but it's better than the last one we had, which is, I don't know, the
I think we're
superintendent direction.
fine tuning it along the lines.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's not fair to me to evaluate the superintendent based on how he or she gets along with her employees. I have no clue, you know?
All right.
Just a side comment too, don't forget though, not everyone sitting here is going to be evaluating the superintendent.
Right, that'll be
So,
folks. And we'll
you know,
have
and
to
I
revisit
just
this.
think it's important, I mean, it's drilled into us, measurable goals, and yeah, these, I think some of them are measurable, some of them are maybe means to a goal, but not necessarily evaluating. We don't have the ability to evaluate them, I think, like you said, subjective versus
Then we need to find another.
objective. So I just want to make that clear because I think we struggle every year with the evaluation process and how.
I would recommend that for those who are coming, that'll be new to the school committee, in our handbook, we suggested mentors to them, and those mentors would be speaking with them at the time, saying, preparing for the evaluation, maybe talking to them when it first comes out, explaining what it is, or even potentially having a workshop on, which we've done it in the past years, and having to do that where you're going to have 3 new people on.
And this is a new tool too, so MASC said that they would come out and go over this new tool, this new layout for the teams.
So timing-wise, I mean, this is going to be in place for the next year.
Yes.
So if we're going to replace this, then we need to start talking about it in January, February, or March.
Right, but
And
this
so-
is
Well, I'm
new,
just
so
saying.
we have to, obviously, I think,
If
it's
you're
hard for
gonna-
me to replace it if I don't
Exactly.
know
So-
how it works.
For today's, and I think if you just go to the superintendent's first page, and she says, as I enter my 3rd year as superintendent, and goes on to talk about equity and access to Leominster Public Schools, fostering a learning environment, academic programming, educational growth. If we were to say, what are your overall goals, that's what they would be. And I think that what we have to look at this tool as is this is an overall measurement of her overall goals here, which is to, is to do these 3 things here. And so I think if it's better than the last one. Is it perfect? Probably not. But it's the one we need to vote on tonight. And then if not, and at the end of the beginning of the year, we should bring it up on the agenda in, I don't know, the 2nd week of February or whatever, so that the new school committee can take a look at it. If we're going to make a change, then we should do that before the budget process. So we should take 30 days to look at other evaluation tools, let the superintendent suggest some. But you're right, not everything in here is measurable to the T, to the
And I
2%, 5%, 10, 20, 30.
And I don't know whether there'll be a workshop on it in a couple of weeks when we go to
Oh, we're down?
Oh, we're down there, but so, then the people that are there, the people can go to it, and that would be, helpful. And then we certainly can have someone come and do a presentation or a workshop here as well. So I think those are very good suggestions.
I'd like to make a motion that we move item 5B, which is vote to approve the superintendent's goals up and vote on the matter.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor? Okay, go ahead, would you like to make motions, Dean?
Yep, I'd like to make a motion to approve the superintendent's goals, and I'd like to add in there that sometime in one of the, we only have one meeting in February, that we take the issue up again just to have a conversation with new members. That would be my motion.
I'll second. Any comments?
The only comment I have, and I meant to say something and I was waiting. He was talking about CTI and about I have a bias in this because CTI, CTE, good thing or bad thing, forget about the adult learner, the kid, the guy or the girl who graduated high school. And then he finds out there's more than that, just going to gate 3. You have to go back. And I'm asking, we have to have avenues to have adults being able to come back to CTE.
So I think that's a great thought, but not necessarily have to do with superintendent's goals.
But it's
But
part
I think having adult education
right, we should talk,
certainly would be a
we
revenue
talked
generator.
about CTE, and he was was talking about adults. He was giving an example about the guy and the girl getting married, yada, yada, yada. But the underlying theme,
Right, but he wasn't coming back to get,
I know that, but I am. Because I have a bias in that. I am the adult learner. I'm the adult learner everybody's been afraid of. Because I went back to school after I finished high school. And I went back to Leominster. I was a trade school.
I don't think anybody's afraid of you, Ron.
No, I say that because people are afraid what happens when the student graduates, comes back, and now all of a sudden there's no tabula rasa. This guy or this girl has
Right,
things.
but I think
I'll
that's,
stop.
right, because I think that, adult education is important. I don't think it's necessarily germane to what we're talking about right now. But I do think that's something maybe to put on the agenda for a future topic. Because we don't offer any adult education courses.
Yeah,
And
Ron,
that's certainly,
I think I could agree with you. You're 100% right. I
Well,
don't
you
think
see,
anybody here would
the
disagree.
problem is...
The problem is that it doesn't relate to this
Topic.
in particular tonight.
Yeah.
That's all.
But you did bring it up. I
Yes.
just figured I had to scratch it in, that's all.
Mike?
I do have one comment. I support setting these as the goals. I have a problem with potentially changing them in February.
No, I wasn't going to change it. If we're going to come up with another system, let's not do it tonight that we're voting
I just want
on.
to make
That's
it
all.
clear, because
Correct.
superintendent
This
is
is it.
going to be evaluated at the end of this school year based on
On this.
whatever rules we set.
Yeah, no, what I meant is,
Right, I agree.
if somebody's going to come up with another evaluation tool,
Yep.
let's do it in March or April and not the night that we're doing
I
it.
think
Right, so-
absolutely the idea of having a meeting with the new members so they understand
Right, that's what it is.
the goals makes sense. But if we want to change them, we'll have to wait until next year.
Right, and I don't think we can change this until we've actually gone through it for the year and understand, the pluses and minuses.
If there's a better one, then I'm sure the superintendent would agree, let's do if there's something better and she comes up with a better one, I'm all about moving on and moving in the direction that's better, so.
So,
But I think we're missing the point that in order for the superintendent to create new goals and set new goals for herself and for the district, it's based on what her evaluation is from previous evaluation. Then she takes the feedback from her evaluation and then can draft what her new goals would be for the coming year. So you really can't you have to wait until she has her review.
well, and we haven't used this tool, so we have to do that first as well. Do you know what I mean? We can't change it before we've used it. So, yeah, but I do think it makes sense to make sure that the new members have a sense of, how this process works and what the responsibilities are.
I would like to move the question.
So, perfect. So we have a first and a second to the motion. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. We're going to move right along to approval of the minutes for October
I'd like to make
7th.
a motion to approve the minutes.
I have,
Did you have a second, Mike? I'm sorry.
I'll second. I also will get discussion of 2 minor corrections.
Okay.
In section 5, third motion in section 5, the number for E-rate should be 176,608. And in section 6, the middle paragraph, last sentence is missing a word. That should say between replacing equipment and maintaining a building. There's a difference between replacing equipment, is what I said, and maintaining a building.
Right, it's not replacing a building.
Those are the only 2 corrections I saw.
Okay, anybody else? All right, we have a first and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. We have policy subcommittee minutes.
I'll make a motion that we approve the policy subcommittee minutes for Monday, September 16th.
Ron, would you like to second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor? Motion carries. We're going to move into subcommittee reports. Policy subcommittee.
So I just wanted to let the committee know that we had STEM students attend today's policy subcommittee meeting regarding extracurricular fees. They posed great questions, and I do have their presentation if anyone is interested in looking at it. as well as some addendums that they also provided us that go along with the presentation. Just to clarify, I want to take this time to clarify, I've already had a parent talk to me in this brief time about some concerns. I just want everyone to know that we do and are able to get the revenue amounts from the superintendent every time we ask for it. The problem that the policy subcommittee tends to have when talking about the extracurricular fees is getting information regarding the number of participants in each extracurricular activity or club from the administration of Leominster High School in particular.
And how often they
attend and how often the meetings of the clubs occur. So that's just what I want to clarify. And jumping back to the meeting we had with STEM, the next time we will be taking up the extracurricular fee policy will be when we reconvene about the upcoming financial budget. And so I just wanted everyone to know, and if you are interested again in the presentation, I'm more than happy to share that around.
Do you have electronically?
I don't have an electronically,
That's
but
fine.
did you get it from?
I didn't get any electronic.
Okay. I have it in paper, so I can pass that around.
If you have another copy,
Here,
Yeah.
So what was, can you summarize what basically the fees are too high?
They're-
They want
they
to
just-
eliminate fees.
Oh, eliminate.
They want to eliminate the fees.
Takes care of that.
Yeah.
Yes,
This was the tower.
and that was their addendum.
Oh, you have that.
Yes. Yes, so that was their stance, and what they came to us with was to eliminate the extracurricular fee altogether. They posed some great arguments, but unfortunately we can't take it up again until our next budget cycle. But I do want to also add that I think that the current policy regarding extracurricular fees should be tightened in terms of language and specifics, just a little bit more. So we will be returning to that soon when we go back to the policy subcommittee.
It's not affecting the implementation.
It's not affecting the
It's
implementation
just
of the
cleaning
fee.
up
We're
some
just trying
language.
to figure out better language.
But there's difference between policy, which is a broad stroke,
Exactly.
as opposed to
And then-
procedure, which
yes.
is more of something that would be in the handbook.
Exactly.
And different from school. to
Yes,
school.
yes.
Okay, thank you. With finance subcommittee, is there anything to report?
Yes, we met last week. I have a few things to report. At our previous meeting, I mentioned that there was a $400,000 Chapter 70 appropriation that hadn't been reported to the school department books yet. I'm pleased to report that that has gone through. The $176,000 608 appropriation for internet services provided that I just mentioned in the previous minutes, that has also gone through.
Great.
Also at the finance meeting, we reviewed the chart of accounts as provided by Desi. We on the committee reached a consensus about what they mean. We've asked the school department to request from Desi to either verify our understanding or clarify their policies for us. So I believe that request has gone to Desi, but we did not have a result yet, so I can put it on next time. We also looked at some information about capital requests, and we have asked the administration to put together one proposal with the, so keep having little things come up, present us with one proposal of what we think we need for the year, so we're hoping to get that next time. So I said no actionable items, just I wanted to update you on their report.
Great, thank you very much. All right, moving forward, we have action items. We have the second reading of policies JH, EB, EBA, EBCD, EBCBA, EBCC, ECF, EBCE, ESC, ECA, and ECAB. So could I have a motion to?
I'll make a motion that the committee approve the second reading of those amended policies.
Okay, any thoughts or
I would like to
comments?
vote on this, but I'd like to go back to my previous statement, which is we need to develop the top 10 things you need to know about the student handbook or policies in the city.
You can't say that with her sitting at the table.
Right.
It takes her breath away.
I know, but nobody's spending 10 minutes reading it until something happens, and then everybody resorts to the student
Right, and then they
handbook.
come to Chris and we have to look at
Everyone
it.
becomes an attorney, and everybody wants to fight about it, it's like,
Is there some?
So we have a first and a second. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries for all those policies.
Just
We've already voted on the
10 most
superintendent's.
important things I need to know about the student handbook.
So we've already voted on superintendent's goals, so now we're down to new and old business. Nona?
I just want to clarify, I had been questioning the Sims data where it pertains to the Project Lead the Way kids, and I met with, last week I met with the superintendent and Lorraine Cipolla and Barbara Davis, and we kind of went over it, and they explained that the state is continually putting out new types of reports, so we are all set, we balanced, we're all set. I was afraid that we were not counting the 21 Project Lead the Way students who are some of our top kids in our graduation rates, and we are. So we're all set, and I appreciate Lorraine and the superintendent and Barbara Davis, the work they did in helping me kind of understand this.
Great.
Thank you.
And then I just had one more thing. So I wanted to keep an eye on the foundation budget revamp and look at those numbers to sort of compare against other communities, because the first draft through, what we were getting, the information we were receiving was that communities that met their foundation, were within their foundation budget but exceeded net school spending were going to be somewhat penalized because of that. And communities that looked less wealthy were going to make out on the new formula because they did, well, that's a community decision, what they decide to spend on education. So I just want to make sure that that number that we've been given is, in fact, in sync with what other communities are getting. And so we've asked the MMA to kind of put something together that would show everybody's what that new formula would look like in comparison, so we can compare ourselves to other communities. Hopefully that doesn't happen when we're penalized because we have spent money. Even in a bad economy, we spend more money at school spending than other communities just met. In fact, in a lot of cases, they didn't even need it, and we're fine because of that. So I just want to make sure that that's not happening. Everybody's comfortable with that number that we're given in relation to what other communities are getting, similar size, which would be a gateway community.
As the data comes out, we're privy to see the other cities, so we'll be happy to share
Right.
with that.
One other thing, this past Thursday night I attended the pasta dinner that the Leominster High School Theater Arts Department, in conjunction with the Lions Club, put on as a fundraiser. They do a little murder mystery play and have a pasta dinner at the Elks. It was excellent. I never knew there were so many jokes about chickens as I heard that night, which was really, it was, I think, one of their best plays that they've done for this. I think this is their third or fourth year doing this. And I think this was their ultimate best. And also I want to mention on Thursday, I know you all received an email from the principal of Priest Street that they're having a 9:30 to 11:30 at Priest Street. They're doing a STEM workshop throughout all their kindergarten grades, and they have invited us to come to it and witness, and I plan on going to that.
That's Thursday, you said?
Yes, that's it.
Thank you.
Excellent. Anybody else? Sue?
As a sidebar, the superintendent next Friday night is going to be a celebrity waitress at the Harvest Dinner Dance for the Beacon of Hope.
Nice.
So I encourage co-workers, parents to come because we can kind of use her skill of being a waitress. I think, Dean, you're going too, right?
Haven't missed one yet,
Is he serving?
Yes.
He's
He's
a
her
waiter.
but you can't take tips.
No, it's a fun night,
You
and
gotta
it
share
supports.
tips.
Kim, I was looking at you saying, oh, that would be something fun for you, because you probably know a lot of the people there. So, I would encourage you.
So where is it held and what time?
It's at the Doubletree, 6:30. And you know what, Chris? I'll send you the invite. Well, I have it too, but I'll send it to you. You want to give it out to everybody? Yeah.
Great. All right, having nothing else?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Second?